Okay, let's get this kicked off. Ha ha ha. Um, I'm finding right now what we're reading a real roller coaster. Um, it's feeling a bit philosophical in some sections for me, and I'm getting a little bit lost, and I'm finding it hard to kind of refocus my attention back on things. But I'm just trying to focus in on what really is being said, and there are some really good things though that I'm enjoying. So I'm just taking those out and going with it. So I'm liking the separation of tasks, being a part of the community. The fact that we, as part of a community, we have a responsibility to give back, and not to always be looking for like what can someone do for me? What can I get out of them? So I think for me that's a really good lesson, just to keep remembering that we all have something to give, rather than to always try and say what can I get from the others. There's an example of a guy that goes out to get a loaf of bread, and it talks about how he's still a part of the community, how the money that he pays for his bread goes to so many different people, like the people that um, mill the flour for the bread, the transportation to get that bread to him, the marketing, all those kinds of things. Those are all part of the community, and I thought that was a really good example to keep in mind. They talk about school and kids, and I'm finding all that really hard to understand. Like, you're trying to let your child. I don't have kids, but you're trying to let your child be responsible and find it within themselves to be able to do their lessons and such. But I think with kids, you've still got to push them, and you've still got to give them other consequences, because I don't think they have the mental capacity at such a young age to be able to see what the future is, and to understand just how important things are. So for me, that I find really difficult to understand. In some ways, I wish I was actually taking this as a course, so that I could stop the teacher and ask questions, and kind of get more information as to what's happening. I'm doing this on my Kindle, so I'm reading it, and I'm not finding it. As some of you had shared last week, that the boy gets really annoying, and I guess his voice gets kind of to the point where you're just like, oh, stop. But is reading it, it doesn't come off quite so polar, so it's not quite such a difference in that regard. And what I'm also trying to learn from is just this separation of tasks, and how I have to be responsible up to that point for those things that I can do and I can control. But there's so much, I believe, that the other person, or at least we've been taught, or we've innately
I
thought
know
that,
you're probably going to roll your eyes.
oh, it's all good.
Good,
I
good.
just heard roll your eyes. Okay. We've been taught that, or like I said, we innately have this feeling that, someone else hurt us, harmed us, or insulted us, whatever the word may be. But really, just to stop at the line where we can only be responsible, and understand that we take part of the equation to a certain point, and then it's the other person's. That's, for me, that's just been a really good lesson, and trying to understand that. Um, there's a quote that says, "The fact that there are people who do not think well of you, that's proof that you're living in freedom." And I really had to think about that for a little while to understand what it meant. But not everybody's meant to like us, and I understand that, and I get that. I wouldn't care to try and keep everybody happy. But it, to me, it's just so it's very poignant, and just trying to help each of us understand that, yeah, we're not here for others. We want to do our best, but we're not here always to try and make someone else like us. And we only have control and freedom up to a certain point. So that's, as the word says, freedom. It's very freeing for me to think of it that way. They talked about animal training and always with rewards rather than any kind of um, negative will help the animals. And I think it's that way with people. People respond to positive rather than the rebukes that they talked about. So there's something here it says about I know often when situations come up that may be a little bit more yeah, interpersonal. And it says when I share my opinion, I actually say this. I say, this is my opinion, and I don't think that I'm right, meaning you're wrong, or mine is better and yours is not, but it becomes my opinion. And so that was something that I actually say quite a lot. And I thought that had a lot of a connection to me. So I like that. And another thing that he says all the time, which I'm going to keep in mind, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And I think that very, very simple sentence for me has a lot of power. And just understanding that, yeah, we can expect things from people, we can want things, but it just doesn't always work that way. So, like I said, I'm finding this last part here. Hello. I'm finding this last part here a bit of a roller coaster, some key points that I'm really enjoying, and others where I'm finding it a little hard. But overall, you know what? There's great lessons to be learned, and overall, I'm enjoying this whole process. So thank y'all. So whoever would like to go next?
I could jump in here. Thanks, Rhonda. That was good. You had a lot of notes on that. So for not having you said being prepared, you were quite prepared for that. I too am having a little bit so I'm following the book a little bit better than I was before in terms of the way that they're talking, kind of like the podcast maybe had mentioned last time. It's like a podcast type of feel. I do like how it is written, but I'm learning to adapt to it a little bit more because it's the first time I remember reading a book like this where it's like kind of just a conversation going back and forth. Um, but there's a few things that really stuck out to me that I guess I'm trying to wrap my head around what the like this thought process behind it. Really, when he's talking about like he goes back and talks about his grandfather, and he's saying that is the philosopher saying to him that his life doesn't matter because he's not able to he's not able to provide anything or any service to anybody, so he's not worth anything at that point. And so there's I guess different ways to look at it, but that part kind of really struck almost like a nerve with me, just because it's like, okay, so were we saying that because you're not able to provide anybody anything, then you're not worth anything. So I guess it starts to think about the way that you look at things and the things that are going on in your own personal life or whatever. But that was one of the things that stuck out to me, that one, about him talking about like existing in the present and things like that. And then there was another part of it. Let me see where my notes are. I'm using this Kindle thing a lot more now. So I'm trying to think of where my notes are now. Okay, so then when he talks about the rebuke or the praise, so I was also a little bit thrown off, like in terms of like, so basically, I mean, we're basically saying that you can't do you if you ask for praise or if somebody praises you, then they're really talking down to you. So, and that there's like a hierarchical type of way to look at it. So, like if people are telling you that you're doing a good job, they're not looking at the horizontal relationship, and instead it's a vertical relationship where they think they're above you. So, I guess I don't necessarily agree with that, but so I guess my way of like trying to understand the way that they're positioning it is throwing me off just a little bit as well. Um, but I think that the way that he does describe, I think, in my opinion, I agree with the youth in this one in a couple of these different discussions about the way that they kind of brought it out and the questions he was asking. I know some people find them a little bit annoying, but I didn't really understand the way that they were kind of going about it either. So these last few chapters of going through this have been more of me questioning it than really being following and understanding it in terms of the way they're positioning it to us. But the horizontal relationship versus vertical relationship was one that really kind of stuck out to me, as well as the whole when he thought about his grandfather being in the nursing home, and the word, and your worthness to everybody. So those are the really two things that kind of stayed with me for the whole this reading. So that's all I had to share.
Jay, you're unmuted. Did you want to share?
Yeah, I'm at the doctor's office.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Well, I'm gonna be honest, guys. I'm sorry I haven't shared. Is that this book came out like right when I left on vacation, and I never ordered it. So, um,
Thanks for being honest. You're taking
Yeah.
responsibility of your task. You're doing what you need to do.
so sorry. I'm here
I'm
for
not sure
support,
about
though.
taking responsibility, but she definitely admitted it.
Well, that's part of the process.
That is part of the process. Well, okay, I guess I can go. Sorry, I'm like trying to make myself lunch as I'm doing this. Okay, so again, the whole, the more and the more that he talks about, like it really does resonate with me, the whole parenting thing. And I know we talked about that a lot, last week, um, of letting them. And it's been, obviously, I'm in a different situation than Jay. When Jay was talking, my kids are big and grown, and it's just a whole different ball game for me to try to figure out, what all she obviously needs to do on her own and become a successful adult. But this time,
You
what
say that with so much conviction,
I know.
Catherine.
It's been a tough week, let me just say. I mean, I could sit here and use you guys for therapy. It's been a tough week, but we're getting there. We're getting there with great consequences, and she has a job, and it's not about mommy, and it's easy to have mommy and daddy, save you from everything and then pay for everything as well. So it's been a long week. But anyway, I really like the part this week when he's talking a lot, because I think that resonates with me in general in the last few years about, like, labor is not just here. I wrote it here. He wrote, labor is not to make money. It is through labor that one feels like they're contributing to the community and you are useful for someone. And the objective in life is community feeling. I think that the older I get, the more that I really get that. It's not, and I think it's really sad that there's so many people, and I get it. I understand situational that you have to work to eat, and you have to, I mean, I do, thankfully, I've never had to be in that situation. I've been really lucky, I think that I've been blessed and lucky that I don't need that. So I understand. But I also think that there's a lot of people that also just ignore, ignore the fact that they could find some purpose or something else that could, be purposeful for them. I can't say that word. That was horrible anyway. That will make them happy, that will make them have purpose and still be able to make a living. I think a lot of people are really scared, and they just are, stay complacent, and they're just, in their comfortable spot, and then they do that forever. And it sounds crazy, but even like one of my really good friends who's a doctor, and you would think so, right? Like, oh, you've got it made and you're a doctor, and doctors, make good money. And in my opinion, she's miserable. Like, I remember being in med school and her saying, this is not what I want to do. And I'm like, then what the hell are you doing it? They're like, oh, because I already started and I have so many loans and I have this. Like what else am I gonna do? Like, I love to cook and I would love to have a bed and breakfast and be a chef. Like, she still says that to this day, and she's turning 50 like next week or in a couple weeks. And I'm just going, I can't imagine, so people just do it because you feel like that's what you started and that's what you have to keep going. And so I kind of have like that he has said that you have to make sure that, there is community, there is purpose, is not just to make money and keep going. So those were the only notes that I really wrote. I have been listening a lot on the go. But I don't know. I'm interested to see kind of where else he takes off. I don't know whether I got tons of any more kind of from there, but those are the main things that I wrote down. Sorry, I'm all over the place. Well, I'm trying to make lunch, but I'm here.
You know, I I'll jump in. You know, I'm at the particular place where I agree with Rhonda, um, you know, on the points that she brought up. And I think that for me, the piece of community and giving back, and doing what you can do within your vocation that actually um, creates income, money, feed yourself, all of the things that we do almost naturally on automatic, um, can become a lifetime, or at a point in time when you look back, um, and you actually say, what have I been doing all of this time? Or you have, you know, weights and measures, and you have more regret than you have fulfillment. And so, in that scenario, reminds me in a book that David Brooks wrote about character. That if, in particular, in my walk, in my journey, being in a second mountain, so to speak, I call it a second valley, to be able to work with your hands and to see the fruit of your labor, and to also be working with and involved with people and seeing life changing events go on with them, and also your community involvement. I never forget the times as chairman of board of a private high school, urban high school in San Francisco, handing out diplomas because 72% of those kids came from disadvantaged families in San Francisco and on the neighboring, maybe bedroom communities. And all of those kids went on to college, where they weren't able. It was an academic private high school, and to be able to stand up there and hand out diplomas to kids that maybe weren't doing well over in this public high school or in that parochial high school, or private high school, and came here and got the actual nurturing that they needed, and to be able to shake their hand and hand them in completion of all of their credits and to see them go on was probably for me one of the most fulfilling um, pieces of, I would call it, extracurricular community involvement. Um, it just really showed me the power, that it can be, um, the power. Basically, it's an exchange of power. You are embodying or empowering others to go on and move in life as they grow. In this particular case, there were high school kids, you know, seniors completing their work, which they may have fallen through the cracks in other institutions. But in any case, um, I I see the book very, very clearly. As Justin said, you know, when someone gives you a compliment or says, "Hey, great job, Ron," um, I don't necessarily. I mean, I've never thought of it that they're speaking down to me. Um, you know, if any one of you said to me, "Hey, great job, Ron," I wouldn't see that as you glad handing me or you stroking, you know, me and trying to win a friendship. I would honestly see that. But I was able to peel back the veil, and I was able to see what he was saying. It just made me more mindful, in that respect, to maybe not accept, or to be judicious, I guess is a better way to phrase it. Um, Not so much not to accept people's compliments or their positive input, but maybe to qualify it a little bit deeper and then accept it.
Hey guys, I'm at the doctor's office, so I don't the I'm sure he's gonna come in any minute. Nothing serious. Just got like a little heel spur, and I can't play paddle, so I'm trying to get this fixed. Anyways, if he walks in, I'm gonna get off, but I gotta go. I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Thanks. Everything's good.
Okay, with that being said, I think we decided on the next couple of books.
Okay.
Let me pull that up really quick.
Better buy them in advance.
Oh no, now that there's the four,
You could have
we got it.
read it in your like 24-hour flight.
You know, I decided to sleep because I don't want to be jet lag over there. Okay, so I have I'm gonna put them in the chat too, but I have Hidden Potentials, The Next 5 Moves, The Creative Act, and The Simple Path. Where's the chat here? Oh, here. I'm also gonna try to send it in that book club chat thing. And then Rhonda, I put my link in the chat there if you saw it.
I got it. Thank you so much. Yes, perfect.
We're also gonna put in Facebook and all that stuff. And in the, like I said, in that other chat. And then I think the reason we split it up like this is because there were two of the top books were like by the same author. I always mess that word up. Author. And we didn't want to do like the same author back to back, so we just split it up with one from the same list and then one from not the list. So that was that. Okay, thank you guys so much for showing up. I'm rooting for Canada, Rhonda.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
For now, I am. Just
for now.
today.
Listen, we'll take
I'm
it.
telling you, like, and I did. I put something.
Sounds
It's like, you know,
good.
yesterday I was Colombian at night, but I was Portuguese in the morning. So, you know, it
yes,
changes.
yes.
You know, it just changes.
Listen.
But, you know,
Change
eventually I'm from Spain. So Spain's going to win it all. So if they win, you'll see. But every day, you know, I might be from a different country. So we'll see. Today I'm Canadian. We're good.
Love it. Thank you.
All right.
That's
Have a
awesome.
great day and a great week, everybody. Nice to see
Bye,
you.
guys.
Bye, guys.
Okay. Bye-bye.